This is Democracy Watch. So, Mark, Tim Scott had come out just days ago as part of his whole Trump VP audition process and refused 6 times on air to commit to accepting the 2024 election results. That follows Mike Johnson laying a predicate for him and the rest of the Republican Party to also refuse to accept the results by now introducing this suggestion that undocumented immigrants are voting en masse. Trump himself has obviously been leaning this way for a long time as well, making a lot of suggestions to the same point. What does this signal for November?
Look, I just wrote about this on Democracy. We need to be clear-eyed about this. The entire Republican Party is telling us who they are. They told us who they were in 2020, and we should have believed them then. But they are telling us again they are not going to accept the results of the 2024 election. It is not just Donald Trump. It is not just Tim Scott. It is, frankly, you'd have an easier question to ask me, who is the Republican who said they will accept the outcome of the 2024 election? There are virtually no Republicans at this point who are not election deniers. And really, that list dwindles if you talk about Republicans who are currently in office, who seek to run for re-election. Tim Scott is competing for the vice presidency against a woman who shot a puppy. I mean, like this is what we're dealing with.
Yeah. Mark, are we better or worse prepared for another Republican effort, and what I would suggest is the inevitable Republican effort to undermine the election results in 2024?
So, Brian, I think you asked the right question with the right word. It is inevitable. We are better prepared if we accept that it is inevitable. We are better prepared if we are clear-eyed between now and November, in the next 6 months. Do we take the steps necessary to be prepared for what is going to happen? Or do we take the position that, well, it would never happen again. People are fed up. That was a one-time event. Donald Trump's not in office this time. It won't be as bad. Then we won't be better prepared. So honestly, the jury is out on whether we're better prepared. I know where I stand, and I know where you stand, and I hope everyone out there is standing with us and saying we are not going to allow another January 6th this time around.
Well, to that point then, what's your message to Republican voters who are being primed right now, whether it's from Donald Trump or Mike Johnson or Tim Scott or any of the other raft of Republican officials, to believe that the election is already being stolen by the Democrats?
Okay, so I have 2 messages. First, if you're a Republican voter out there and you are confused by all of this and you've now come to believe various conspiracy theories, my message to you is one of compassion. You've been lied to. You've been lied to systematically for years now. And I am sorry that has happened. It is a tragedy for you and for democracy that people who know better, people whose responsibility it is to tell you the truth, have lied to you. Fox News has lied to you. They have made billions of dollars off of you being lied to, and that's terrible. Elected officials, Mike Johnson has lied to you. Donald Trump has lied to you. If you are one of those people, though, who knows better, okay, you know that it's a lie, but you continue to spread it. You continue to profit off of it. You continue to foment discord and hatred because of it. History will judge you. History will judge you for who you are at a time when your country needed you to be honest and to tell the truth, Mike Johnson. When Tim Scott, your country called upon you to be responsible and to stand up against hate and against lies. History will remember that at this time in history, you were one of the bad guys. And so that's my message, right? We are beyond the time of posturing. We are beyond the time of humoring. We are beyond the time of understanding. Now is the time that people are either going to stand up and do the right thing, they are going to stand up and do the wrong thing, or they will be among the people who have been lied to.
Couldn't have said that any better. And to that exact point, for folks who want to hear more from Mark, please sign up for Democracy Docket. It's the free news outlet he founded to focus on everything voting in elections. I'll put the link right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. It is important to lift up good, progressive news sources, accurate, incredible sources of information. So that's exactly what Democracy Docket is. Mark, Tim Scott's branding isn't exactly that of an extremist. What does it say that even he is spouting this dangerous extremism in the mold of Trump?
Yeah, so it says a couple of things. First of all, he ought to be ashamed of himself for doing it, number one. And the fact is, the Republican Party lacks any shame. You know, the fact that Tim Scott would say this several times, while at the same time, like I said, a woman who shot a puppy and lied about meeting a foreign leader, you know, is still on TV, like, just shows the depravity and the lack of shame in the Republican Party. But what it also says, though, is that Trumpism has captured the Republican Party. You know, if you're a Democrat listening to this, if you're someone who is an independent listening to this, you need to understand there is no one on the other side who is acting in good faith. They are all now supplicants to Donald Trump, the big lie, and election denialism. Election denialism is the only irrefutable minimum that you need to buy in to be a Republican in good standing. It is actually now the job question that they ask if you want to work at the RNC. It is what Donald Trump expects in terms of loyalty from everyone, from his driver to senators and members of Congress and governors and potential vice presidential nominees. And so the big lie and election denialism now is the creed of the Republican Party, and it is a terrible, terrible thing for democracy. And come this November, it is important that it be voted down and voted down definitively. So if you are a Democrat or a right-thinking independent who worries about democracy, you need to vote for Joe Biden up and down the ticket, wholeheartedly, full-throatedly, with all of the passion that you can bring to it, because that is the only way that we are going to save our democracy in the long term.
Well, you know, the only reason that our democracy held up in 2020 was because a few people had the courage to protect it, and they were in positions to be able to do so. What does it say that we are now seeing these litmus tests be imposed on Republicans who would replace the people who actually protected our democracy the last time around?
It means that this November is going to be very difficult. You know, I don't want to sugarcoat it. This is going to be a very, very difficult election to get through because you have more and more Republican more and more Republican officials in power who are election deniers. You have a Republican Party that is emboldened to engage in voter suppression and election subversion. You know, you and I have talked before. The Republican Party is bringing lawsuits, or Republican allies are bringing lawsuits, to literally have the right to intimidate and harass election officials and voters. They are saying that that is their First Amendment right to harass and intimidate election officials. They have shifted the Overton window of what is considered to be inbounds and out of bounds for Republicans so far towards authoritarianism that this is going to be a really, really challenging election. So what we're going to need is everyone to fight back. Not literally, but figuratively, everyone to stand up in the town square, everyone to be part of the solution. So if you have time, you need to be an election worker. You know, you need to get trained to be an election worker. If you are able to, you need to financially support, you know, pro-democracy candidates. You need to make sure you are registered to vote. You need to check your voter registration. You need to make sure that your friends have checked their voter registration. You need to make sure everyone gets out to vote, because this is going to be a election in which the election deniers are motivated, they are energized, and they are willing to do anything. And so those of us who are just trying to have a free and fair election need to be prepared to do everything we can to ensure that as well.
And for those watching right now, just to build on Marc's point, we're going to be doing a video specifically focused on what you all can do as we head toward 2024, that it's not just sitting here and waiting, that we have agency. So be on the lookout for that video. It's going to be this weekend. So if you're not yet subscribed, please make sure to subscribe. And if you're not yet signed up for Democracy Docket, again, please sign up for Democracy Docket. I'll put the link to both the channels and Democracy Docket right here on the screen. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen.
I'm Marc Elias.
This is Democracy Watch.